Welcome to Tank Out. On today's edition, I am talking to a living legend himself. It's Sam Houston. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing great. Talking to you is a pleasure and an honor. And today I have so many questions. And usually, you start from the beginning. How'd you get into wrestling? So on and so forth. But when I was doing research on you, I found out if this is true or not, we need to figure it out right now. Were you almost eaten by cannibals?
Twice.
Twice. Now
Twice.
let's
Yeah.
break the story down. How does this even happen? How do you even get close to cannibals?
Okay. We were Charlie Norris, Killer, Tim Brooks, Action Jackson, myself. The Dallas Wrestling Office. Then with the Sportatorium after the Von Erichs were gone. A couple of different organizations, federations within there. But one of them was the CWA, and and we all worked for the CWA at the time. Well, Larry O'Day and Gary Priest, or Larry O'Day was an Australian wrestler, and I guess Terry was a promoter or something. They were had a contract over with the Australian government to bring a show over to Papua New Guinea, the place where all the Jurassic Park movies, or most all the Jurassic Park movies, were done. And I there was just so much there. I mean, uh, they have a nut that grows on a tree. It's called beetle nut. And then okay, first of all, they call them rascals, or what they call the natives. And when I got off the plane, I thought I was in a Tarzan movie.
Mm.
They took us to the hotel. They take us in a nice marble government hotel. It's got wrought iron fences and everything. It's huge. It's nice, but the roads are dirt paths and everything. We're up a mountain, and I go out. They won't let you smoke inside, so I go to smoke a cigarette. And I'm standing outside. This fellow walks up to me, and he's wearing a Tarzan-like loincloth, just like what Tarzan wears. He's carrying a spear. He's got a grass knife on his hip, a bow and arrow over his shoulders. He's got a bone in his nose, bones through his nipples. He's got vertebrae in his ears. He's got a feathered headdress, but not like our Native American
Yeah.
headdress. We have something more like out of Gilligan's Island, headhunters,
Yeah.
something like that. So he's like a mini Kamala. He's like 5 foot, like nothing. And he's walking straight up to me, and I'm smoking my cigarette, and I'm expecting like, something like that.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Pardon me, mate, can I have a smoke?" I was like, "Damn, you talk better English than I do." I gave him a cigarette, and I lit his cigarette and watched him walk off. I was like, I can't believe that. And I turned back around, and here comes a woman walking down the street, and she's got like a little waist wrap on, and she's nursing a baby on one breast and a piglet, baby pig, is on the other breast. And then I found out a pig's life is more valuable than a human's life over there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can run over somebody, give the family $20, and you're out of it. You run over their pig, they can come back and kill you.
Wow.
Yeah, it was something else. I mean, so anyway, we get there, and I was like, wow. So now I'm asking, then they said, oh, well, you gotta make sure. Did you get the malaria shot? I was like, no, none of us got the shot. They said, well, you got to drink the South Pacific beer. So we made sure we drank plenty of South Pacific beer. Uh, anyway, there was only the four of us that went over there. So the first day, going out breakfast with Larry O'Day, and he kind of tells me about these people. And, like, okay. So I get there, and they've got me in a small little ring signing autographs. And where the sports grounds are complex,
Mm-hmm.
because we wrestled at the soccer field. And I'm inside this like pavilion type thing, and I'm signing autographs. Well, after about an hour and a half, I was tired. And the Spear Cigarette Company is who sponsored us. And I'll tell you about that too. Um, anyway, I'm signing autographs. I get, thirsty, and I got to use the restroom. So I get out of the little mini ring, and I go and use the restroom, get a Coke, drink that. Well, the people are all excited, and they're partying around me. It's kind of like Bourbon Street on Saturday night. But all of a sudden, they pick me up and they're tossing me up in the air and carrying me out of the sports complex grounds. And they carry me across the field. We get all the way to the main gate, and that's what the Australian Army pulls in with all their vehicles and stuff. They come out, they're mowing people down with got automatic weapons with rubber bullets. They're beating people back with their clubs. Rottweilers, you could have put a saddle like on a horse. You could have put a saddle on some of these Rottweilers.
Wow.
They were huge. They were clamping people on their head and just dragging them off. It was wow, is all I can say. So they get me in the transport and they're carrying me back. And I guess the guy of rank, I guess he's a major or something, says, "Hey, can you ever watch Bugs Bunny?" Bugs Bunny, Bugs Bunny, yeah. He said, "You know the one with the Ethiopian?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "There was a big black pot in your future, right?" I was like, "Huh?" And what he told me is in their belief or their spirituality, they believe whatever they consume, just like anybody, what you are what you eat. Well, I'm viewed as a warrior or a fighter or whatever. So they want that warrior spirit. So they were going to have Sam Houston, the other white, or the other white meat, like chicken. I taste I like chicken on that. And then like 4 days later, me and Charlie go to the store, little grocery store right next to the hotel, and to get water. You had to have bottled water. They had to bring water in from Japan, and no sooner we got there, we got the only bottle of water they had. It was a half-gallon of water. We can split it. We get them and we go to purchase the water. And I kid you not, there were 3,000 natives outside trying to get us. They had to get the army to come get us again. I was wrestling. I mean, in the big soccer arena, natives busted down like 100 yards or whatever the length of a soccer field is. They busted down the wrought iron on one side and stormed the arena. And we're in the middle, and I got a headlock on Killer Brooks. I raced back. I've been in there because we had to wrestle a singles match each, which was 40 minutes, and then a tag match each. That way you gave them like a 2-hour show, 2 40-minute singles matches and a 40-minute tag match. So, uh, anyway, so we're in the tag match, and the people bust down, and here comes the army and everything. And I'm sitting there with Killer Brooks in a headlock. And I've had him for a little bit, or been in the ring for a little bit. And I can see a little bit of the commotion, but I can't see it all. And I reach back to Tag Action Jackson, and he goes, "No, stay in there. Come on, I got to catch my breath." He goes, "No, stay in there, Sam." And I said, "Huh?" He said, "You're a smaller target than me." I said, "What?"
Oh,
He
my.
he said, "They're shooting." About that time, I heard the shot. I let that headlock go quicker than anything, and I jumped up underneath the ring because that's the safest place to be. I'm sitting up underneath there about 2 minutes. Everything's going crazy. And finally, they drop down and they look, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm here where it's safe." And like, hey, everybody come, climbed up underneath the ring. We're just sat there. So we
My
go,
God.
yeah. So they go to file a police report, and so we have to go to the police station. However, they couldn't take a report because somebody had stolen their typewriter. It was like a third world country. And I've seen people, pooping in the field, the whole 9 yards. They squat in the field behind each other to eat the bugs out of each other's hair. I've seen actual people run up coconut trees. The first time night I come back from the ring, first match, walking back and I'm coming through the people. I figure everybody's going to get out, kind of, give me room to walk. Where I had a little bit of room, and security's right behind me. And as soon as I broke that first line, boom, boom, I caught 2 shots to the head. Well, I was like, whoa. And I got my arms up and got my head down, and away to security. And people are beating me on the back and everything. So I just bust through and make it to the dressing room. And security gets there, and they're like, what's going on? And he said, oh, they're honoring you. And I said, what? He said, they see y'all doing that to each other in the ring.
Ah,
So they want to show you honor. So they're honoring you. I tell you, after that tag match that night, when we were on our way back to the dressing room, I honored every head that come up. Yeah,
oh my, oh my.
self-preservation. So then we go back. They had to put us up high in the hotel because people climbed the walls. They climbed up 6 stories on the wall to break into Charlie Norris's hotel room and steal his size 15 AAA tennis Reebok tennis shoes. And their feet are only like, maybe 6 or 7, but they're really wide from climbing up the trees. Oh, it was something. So we would go back after, we'd go to the party or whatever. We'd go on the balcony with a case of beer. And like I told you, they have this beetle nut. They would take a mustard leaf. They would put a spoonful of lime that you put in your garden to kill snails and stuff. Put lime on the mustard leaf, then put the nut on top of it and roll it up, and then put it in their cheek like a tobacco pouch. And they chew on that. They eat the meat of the nut and everything. They spit out the juice, and it's a red fluorescent, like glow in the dark spit. You see where see everywhere it's at, but it gives them a cocaine high.
Huh.
They do this all day long, and then they go out. There'll be little villages. There would be like we see a village of like 8 or 10 huts over here, like New Island stuff. You could tell when they had remodeling done because some of the palms would be gone, and there'd be cardboard beer boxes for walls and stuff. But there'd be like 8 or 10 huts over here, and maybe 15 or 16 huts over here, and some huts over here. And somebody would come out from this field over here with his big long grass knife. Somebody would come out to meet the challenge, and they get out there and they'd hack each other to death. It was I couldn't believe it. I met a college professor right when we got there, and he told me Larry O'Day introduced me to him. He said, "Tell him how it is, mate." And he said him and his wife the week before had left the government hotel where they were protected by the army and drove down the mountain into Port Moresby. And halfway down the mountain, 6 of the rascals, 6 of the natives, pulled them over. And they got their long grass knives. They told him, they said, "We want your money, your wife, and your car." And he said, "Take my money and my car, leave my wife alone." And they said, "No, we're going to sell her into white slavery." He said, "I've got $5,000 in a paper sack underneath my seat." They said, "Let's see it." He told me he pulled the paper sack out from underneath the seat. He had a 9mm. He shot all 6 of them. He killed 4 of them. He called the police. The police get there. Now, the police are also rascals, but they get their marching orders from the Australian Army. They're the kind of governing. And anyway, so they get their marching. The police come up and they ask the guy what happened. He told them. The police walked right over there. Boom, boom, killed the 2 guys that were still alive.
My God.
Yeah, justice on the spot.
And you're here to share the story of surviving so many different occurrences
Yeah.
just by simply going to wrestle somewhere in New Guinea and almost being eaten, not once, but it seems like twice. It seems like, honestly, it seems like you could have been eaten multiple times. But somehow you weren't. Somehow you weren't. You were saved.
Yeah. Well, we were under the I guess we had the military around us most of the time.
Yeah.
It was when we ventured out on our own, but they would put us on flatbed trucks and give us first of all, let me explain what a spear cigarette is. A spear cigarette is probably about as long as a Black and Mild,
Yeah.
like a cigar. and it's rolled. It's about that thick too, and it's rolled in the recycled, used Australian daily newspaper. You can actually sit there and twist the cigarette and read words around it. The Australian government, or whoever the Spear Cigarette Company was, bringing the cigarettes over there, getting the natives addicted to the nicotine and the tobacco, and then offering these cigarettes for 10 cents or 10 whatever cents a piece. Or we were throwing them out, and people were smoking those up. And you learn so much later on in life. Just when we went over there, we didn't know anything.
Of course. Well, every adventure is a life lesson, it seems, for you.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting there. Okay, it's 110 degrees there every day. It's right on the equator. So I go out by the pool one day, go to sit in one of the lounge chairs. I think I weighed about 240 pounds at the time. And when I sat down, the chair shattered. It was like a plastic lawn chair. It shattered like glass underneath of me. I got my left hand down, but when I did, I knocked my left shoulder out of place. So I called Larry O'Day and Terry Priest and I tell him, look, my shoulder's dislocated. I can't work. And I mean, the government people, everybody coming in, they had to make I had to make a decision. Do I want them to face a riotous battle tonight? Or if am I willing to take 17 shots of lidocaine in my shoulder so I can perform? I took tape up and go, baby, just like
yeah. I'm gonna say, yeah, it seems like everyone does that. Let's jump back though to not being almost eaten by people. My first introduction to you is, at least for me, is the WWF when you worked there, and you wrestled on the first Royal Rumble 1988. Now, how does this match even get put together? Is it a challenge? It's to get 20 wrestlers, 30 wrestlers together and be like, okay, this is what we're doing, because again, you got 30 people.
Yeah, everybody was looking, and everybody at first thought, "How is this going to work?" But in the long run, you have so much opportunity to do so many things other than a battle royal,
right?
Where everybody starts at the same time. You can do ankles, you can work just different ways and have something going on with 6 different guys. So it doesn't know where you're going. It could be you want to stay focused on 1 or 2 people. It was great being in the first one. I got to see the highlight reel at a very awkward, special time in my life when they announced Duggan was going into the Hall of Fame. I hadn't seen any wrestling shows or anything like that for about a year. I sit down and I'm watching it, and they announced Jim Duggan being inducted into the Royal Rumble. And so he's walking down the thing, and then it goes to a shot of them doing the stuff in the ring. Guys working in the ring, not him walking down. And there I am. But boy, for about 2 or 3 seconds, I'm doing great. I mean, I was just on top of the world. And then I'm on top of the world in another way. I'm flying through the air. And it was like that 5th second or 4.5 with that splat hit, because we didn't have the nice mats stuff. I mean, I think while I was there, they finally came out with the little padding around the ring. But other than that, it was concrete floor, and that little blue padding, and you had that wasn't much either. But yeah, it was kind of cool looking back as I see them happening now. I'm wondering, hey, am I ever going to get a call of, would you like to come and join the Royal Rumble? I think it'd be a great deal, but especially since it's how many years is it?
The first one?
Yeah.
I mean, 1988 was the first one, and only had 20 people in it.
I know, man. What number are they on now?
Oh God, I don't know. To be honest, 88. So where we at? We're in 2023 as we're talking right now.
35 years, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still competing after 35 years of being in the first one,
So.
And that's not the beginning of my career. So my career stretches back even before the
Of course.
WWF,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
So I was just kind of, I was hitting one of my primes because I've had so many.
It's true.
My wife,
I was gonna say you got an audience on the side, don't you? Whatever you're saying, you have someone there laughing at your jokes.
my wife said right here, that's what life's about, you know.
Of course, of course.
It says my connection is unstable. Oh no, that okay,
Yeah. You're all good here. So,
okay.
so, so while you were in the WWF, though, you have relatives there. You know, your brother, your sister. So, is there ever a discussion to acknowledge this? Because I know on television, you and Jake and Rock and Robin, Jake the Snake Roberts, didn't really interact on television. Was there
No,
ever an opportunity, or and did they want to acknowledge the fact
no,
that
I
you
guess
guys
they didn't want
relatives?
to acknowledge it, or I don't know. I mean, and that could have been, a whole bunch of opportunities there. Uh, uh, Jake and I were in the ring a few times together, but nobody really knew we were brothers or anything like that. So, and it was like in a battle royal or something. I remember when the black thing when they did the Jim Bowie death matches. I ran out to save him because Martel had taken his hood off and was putting the boots to Jake.
Yeah.
So Jake's got his hood on, can't see. So, he's putting the. I saw I hit the ring. Martell's hit some skids. I go to pick Jake up. He just feels somebody picking him up. He DDT'd me, dropped me on my head. Martell turns back in the ring and starts putting the boots back to him again. So, we had fun together.
Of course. I'm just surprised
I
it
helped
never.
him. I was always there to help him with the snake and stuff like that.
That must have been fun having to carry around a giant snake. And I know the stories of Jake throwing that snake into showers, and as
Oh
your
yeah,
as your
he
relative,
put it. He put it on Ivanka Trump. He put it on me. Okay. They,
you put it on Ivanka Trump.
yeah, it tried WrestleMania 4, I believe.
Oh, when they were Trump
Probably right
Plaza in
in her lap.
Atlanta.
Yeah, huh?
In
No,
Atlanta.
Trump Tower. Trump Towers.
Okay, it's because WrestleMania 4 and 5 are in Atlantic City,
Yeah,
and
Atlantic
yeah,
City.
Trump,
Trump Towers.
the casino that he had there at the time. I know I don't think those are open anymore, but yeah, it's so funny you brought that up because WrestleMania 4, you were in a battle royal
Uh-huh.
at that event as well, and so you're saying that your brother Jake the Snake is dumping the snake on the Trumps?
Yeah, on Ivanka, Donald's wife at the time. Yeah,
Oh, I wasn't. I don't think it was Ivanka at the time. He was married to somebody else,
a
and
tall blonde headed girl, woman.
I think that's his type. I think
You
that might be
know,
his type.
I
Uh,
believe it was Ivanka. Russ, whoever he was married to, it was
Yeah, whoever would married to that, but that's hilarious to think that because I can't imagine in today's world ever an opportunity to throw a snake on one of the Trumps. But yet you're talking about at WrestleMania 4, this is happening. That is got to be crazy. Now I interviewed Mike Chioda, the referee. He was involved with WrestleMania 4, and he told me he had to protect the satellite trucks outside because he was worried about rival wrestling companies coming and destroying them. But he said hookers were just walking by him all night long. So what's the party atmosphere like in Atlantic City at WrestleMania 4 and 5? Because I imagine it's got to be interesting times.
well. I'm really okay. I know my mom had Hank Williams Jr. thrown out of the bar. Uh, because my sister had done some at the beginning.
Yes.
They had played the different music that she had practiced too. So I guess something happened. I didn't hear the cue. I don't know. Anyway, but my sister was distraught, and my mom was there. So afterwards, my mom takes they go back to the hotel room, and my sister showers and everything. She's just she can't believe it. She's devastated. So my mom says, "Come on, let's get out of here. Let's get to the bar. I'm going to pump some, feel good in you, I guess." So they start drinking. Well, this big cowboy and this other guy come in, and they sit down at the table with my mom and my sister. And the big cowboy, kept elbowing my mom and saying, hey girl," trying to talk to him and so. and they're just looking at him, because people were everywhere. So he goes, "Hey, girl, I grew up a few times. Finally, my sister's had a bad night. She jumped something. She said, 'That's not a girl. That's my mother, and she's a lady.'" So he goes, "I guess you don't know who I am." And they looked at me, he goes, "I'm Hank Williams Jr." And my mom said, "I'm Loretta effing Lynn," and then had him thrown out of Trump Tower, out of the
Wow.
bar. So I haven't met him, or I haven't met him since then to ask him, but I want to.
Wow. That's a crazy story. There's a lot
Yeah,
going. You got Jake dumping sticks on
supposedly,
people. You
like,
got Hank Williams Jr. there getting
yeah,
kicked out of the bar.
Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard were the
Wow.
witnesses to that, from what I understand.
uh, I was gonna say there are plenty of wrestling stories out there. There are witnesses who will not admit they were ever in these situations, and I imagine that one they'll probably admit because that's a hilarious story to hear that
Yeah,
that actually happened.
there's all kinds of stuff happens.
Oh, of
I mean, I was
course.
on the road. I got to dance with Trisha Yearwood. Rod Simmons was there. I two steps with Trisha Yearwood in Iowa. It was a Red Stallion saloon. It was, you're driving down the road, you can't get beer anywhere. Back then, see, times were different. Back then, that's what happened. After the matches, if you're driving on a road trip, you get your 6 pack or 12 pack and boom down the road. And that was just a way of life. Like I said, times are different.
Right.
Uh, yeah, I haven't had a drink in 14 years, almost 14 years. So you it was a long, hard road, and I learned a lot along the way. Got a lot of experience. But I'm a better man now. I took all the time I needed to work on myself and come out the other side better.
Of course. Well,
That being
congratulations.
said, a lot of great stuff happened, and yeah, but I was married also at the time, so I wasn't partying with all the boys and all 9 yards.
Oh, nice.
At the time we would make an appearance, and then you make your appearance in the bar, we'll have one drink or two drinks, and then fly, gracefully slide out.
Good to
Yeah,
hear because you always hear stories of different types of wrestlers and different times doing. They have a wife at home, but they don't have a
yeah,
wife, but they don't have a wife on the road. So
yeah. But
depend.
come on, let's be honest. I mean, you're rock stars.
Of course. So a lot of temptations on the road, obviously.
Yeah, anything you want, you know, whatever you want, anything, basically.
Wow. And then
It's out there.
of
You know,
course.
I mean, why kid yourself or why lie to yourself, and close a blind eye to it? You can't. You
Of
know,
course. No, there's too many stories out there. There's too
yeah,
many bad stories or people who have died
yeah.
early
No matter
or
what you can think of, somebody's already tried it. There's no more originality in anything.
I was gonna say, I hope
You don't mind if I smoke a cigarette while we
do
talk?
whatever you need to do, my friend. Do whatever you need to do. I want to move on to Hulk Hogan because he, again, at the time when you're in the WWF, he is the biggest thing in the world. You talk about rock stars and getting anything you want. I imagine Hulk Hogan get anything you want. What was your experience like working with him backstage? Did he treat you nice? Did you have conversations?
I gotta tell you, Hogan we were always cool. I mean, I wasn't, part of his like entourage or anything else. I mean, I'm my own guy. When I walk up and I talk to Vince McMahon, I don't talk to him at peon to billionaire. I talk to him man to man. When I was with Hogan, when I was whoever I was with, you show respect, you get respect. And that's, you do you, let me do me. I don't, if I had a problem, I go talk to Vince. If I got a problem, I go talk to Jim Crockett. I go talk to the boss. I don't go talk to this one or that one or the other one. Hogan, to me, was always conducted himself as a gentleman around people. Everything I viewed, he was always a gentleman in the airports and his interaction with the fans and everything. The one thing he would do during meals, he would ask people to please wait and let him finish his meal because he just washed his hands, you know, and that's very classic, And I always saw him as the Wilder side. I don't know. I wasn't there during that time. I was there at the time when he was on top of the world. Did I see him later? Yes. but he never treated me any differently. He always treated me with respect and always happy to see me, and I've always been happy to see him. You
Good to
know,
hear.
and he was always, and you got to think, man, like the TV shows and the reality stuff, you can't get caught up in that stuff.
No,
It's a production just like anything else. You got to agree and put your name on something, and don't please if you see something they're trying to show you is real and it has 6 or 7 different camera angles with the video being shot, set up.
of course. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
If I shot you for so Hogan Knows Best was his reality show. If you shoot someone for 8 hours and you chop it all up into a 23-minute show on television, okay,
Yeah.
8 hours of video is chopped up into 23 minutes. And that 23 minutes, you're trying to tell a story. What's the story? Is it Hogan? I remember the episode where Hogan is at a cookout and he's supposed to have like kosher food and he cooks on the same grill. And that was the whole episode about how he didn't know the difference between cooking, meat with kosher food and you can't cook it together on the same grill. And that was the episode. Maybe he knew and they just chopped it up to make it look like he didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the director. I'm a producer of that show, but it's good to hear that he was cordial to you because all the stories I've talked to so many wrestlers from the Warlord to Barry Horowitz to the Mountie. They all speak so highly of Hulk Hogan, of the way he treated them. You talk to wrestling media people in today's world, they compare what he's done in the past 5 years, not what he did for the wrestling business 30 years ago. They always bring up, well, he did this bad thing now. What, you've never done something bad before in your life? You're going to hold one person accountable for one bad decision for the rest of their lives? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy to me.
I went to prison for my sins and my crimes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I did my time. I took that time to work on myself and come out a better guy. So I'm gone through it, but yet there are still people out there that want to try to push buttons, or needle you or label you or something like that. I successfully completed my career as an alcoholic, successfully completed 13 different rehab programs. Mm-hmm. I mean, come out every time with honors. Oh boy, I'm captain of rehab. I'm never going to have a drink, and it don't take long for that demon to get you. You'd be driving down the road, you go, oh, one wouldn't hurt, nobody's ever won, and then for too long, you're all the way back up. There were 3 times that I had over a year sober. One time I had a year and a half, one time it was a year and a day, one time another year and a couple of months. But for the most part, for 19 years, I was drinking about 3 beers a day, every day.
Now, I read an article about you as well about that situation. So you went to prison for having DUIs. Am I correct?
Yeah. I had at the time on my record, I'm not, because I started thinking about it, and all the different stories. There's one deal going on. I got 2 or 3 DWIs a year every year. No, I never had more than 2 DWIs on my record at a time. Mm-hmm. And then I got her picked up for an improper lane change.
Okay.
And so I bonded out of jail on the improper lane change, and I knew I had a problem. So I checked myself into center court. It was a 2-year-long rehab. I was there 3 months to the day. I go to court to face an improper lane change ticket. They threw that out and hit me with DWI 4th offense. But tell the DA, I said, I've never had a third if I've never been convicted of a 3rd offense. And he said, if we have to redo the paperwork, because I'm going to go ahead and hit you with the Habitual Offender Act, you'll spend all day in prison. That means the rest of your life, the Habitual Offender Act. You go to jail and you don't get back out. You stay there. Or he said, you can fight it in court. We'll give you the maximum of 30 years. He said, or you go ahead and sign off on this paperwork that I'm going to offer you. We'll give you a 10-year sentence, the minimum, but you'll only serve half of it. incarcerated. So you're sitting there, and um, that's what they hit me with on Friday. Then they take me and they lock me up on Murderers Row. It was the worst wing that they could possibly, the most violent criminals. Because I was a wrestler, I was a security threat. So I was on a hall with 39 rapists, murderers, just horrible.
Just for you having for DUIs, you were put on
Yeah.
an
So
area with the
yeah,
worst people in the world.
they put me in there, take the chains off of me, and this old black man comes up to me and he says, "My name's Max Hughes. I killed 3 white women. What'd you do?" I said, "Improper lane change," because that's what it was. That's what the charge was. Everybody kind of like, you know, nobody knew what was going on. So anyway, it all come out the wash when they took me to court. I ended up, signing off on it because that first night on that hallway, I couldn't stand it. Did it all day long, the screaming, the hollering, the nastiness. And I'm thinking, I cannot do 10 years of this. I can't do this. So my cellmate had a way of taking a piece of cloth and stuffing it in the where the latch comes on the steel doors. So the doors automatically would close, but the latch couldn't catch.
Mm.
And he had a friend of his down into the hall by the showers. And at night, he would open that door and go down there and talk with him. Well, broke a razor blade and took it, stripped my sheet, my bed sheet, because I couldn't do this. And I braided it together. Then I made 2 nooses. My rack was the top rack, and that's about 5.5 feet high. Made 2 nooses with a braided sheet, and I took the sheet and I ran it through the bars a few times. Put both nooses around my neck, and I was sitting there. I was perched on the top bunk, and I prayed, and I said, "God, only you can stop this now." And I jumped. And, that's only like 5.5 feet. I'm a guy, I was telling Robert Gibson last night, he was here. I'm a guy that would jump from the inside of the ring over to the top rope, probably 10, 12 feet in the air, and then land on my feet.
Yeah.
I jumped from 5.5 feet to break my neck. I hit the ground with such force, the soles of my feet were bruised. 6 weeks. It killed me to walk. The nooses broke. They didn't tear, they didn't rip. They broke. I dropped on, I got on my knees and I turned around and I prayed to God and I told him I'd never try to hurt myself again. Please reveal himself to me. Let me know what he wanted me to do. He didn't want me to die. So I got a message from him that told me to take this time and work on myself. Take whatever classes, do whatever skills I could learn and work on myself. And that's what I did. I was in Baton Rouge there the first 7 months or so, and then they moved me from there to a maximum security disciplinary camp. And that's a place for the worst of the worst offenders. This is for a disciplinary camp is something for people that can't get it right in prison. Messed up ones that can't do right in jail get sent to this camp. And it was horrible there, but I used every day that I was there to work on myself. At that time, I had a rusted out footlocker, cockroach infested footlocker with a bar of soap and 2 pair of stained underwear, boxer shorts. That's all what I started with, and I did a lot of work on me. I did a lot of work on climbing back, on crawling back, being able to look at that guy in the mirror, to beat my addictions, to come out of that place and to excel and to lift his holy name, because he's the one that gave me the power to do it. Every day to me is a blessing. Since since January the 12th. No, no, that was January. Was yeah.
Wow. You're again. You have a very you have an audience over there, but obviously, and your inspirational
Oh, she thought I
story.
got the date wrong.
How dare she?
Yeah.
But honestly, your story is so inspiring. You suffered though, but that you've come out on the other end. I guess as I look at you now, you mentioned haven't had a drink in over a decade now. You clearly the situation describing sounds terrible, but yet a sign was given to you that hey, you still got more time. You have things to do here on Earth, so let's keep on pushing forward. And obviously, you have, and here we are now chit chatting away about your inspiring story. So I just want to say thank you for sharing with me with that,
Oh yeah.
because
Well,
that
see,
right there is enough to make someone go, maybe I should try something.
when I was 17, I don't know if you know this or not. When I was 17 years old, I had my tonsils taken out.
I heard you apparently you
Oh,
died.
have you heard that? Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, but I want to hear from your words because for when you hear about tonsils, you think, oh, this is simple, just tonsils.
Yeah, it should have
It
been.
should be easy, in and out, boom, boom, boom. Not, oh, he's dead. I'm sorry, what happened? So
Yeah.
tell us the story because I would love to hear it.
Okay, so I get to the hospital. They're going to take my tonsils out on April the 2nd. I get there the night of April Fools. You know, so I check in the hospital. I'm sitting there, and I was at Our Lady in the Lake Hospital. Nun came by and talked with me for a little bit and prayed with me for a bit. And she left, and I was sitting there all alone. My family was going to be there the next morning. So I was all alone. I was talking to God, and um, I don't know. I would, I was having, I guess, a prayer, but it wasn't really prayer. It was more like a conversation in your mind
Mm-hmm.
because words weren't spoken, and prayer needs to be spoken, and it needs to be felt from your gut. I just want the listeners to know that when they pray, they need to speak it and they need to feel what they pray, and that's how prayers are answered. But anyway, so I was praying, and the next morning, my folks get there and they give me the shots and everything. And I was way out there. I told my folks a joke, and they died. Like, well, I told it to them twice. The first time I told them the joke, it was like, ha ha, funny. But then after that second time, when I was all looped up on the sodium pentothal, that's when they died. They were rolling. So anyway, so they take me away, and my mom stopped me, and she said, "Ernie," she said, "they're they're they're not taking your tonsils out." I said, "What?" She said, "They're going to do a bisectomy." Oh no! And it scared me. So this is the embarrassing part, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you because
Let's hear it.
you know. Anyway, they take me in, and they can't get me. I've got I'm covering my stuff. Anyway, they got me laid out, and when they do the tonsillectomy, what they do is they give you the guy. I mean, they give you the shot first, and they prep you. They got you laid out, and they've got to get you to swallow a tube because they take a balloon and put it in the back of your throat, and then they air the balloon up, which expands your throat, and then they smear your tonsils and cut them off, cauterize them, and scrape your adenoids.
Hmm.
And that's how they do the procedure. Well, when they were putting the tube down the back of my throat, I don't know if the tube wasn't, it was sharp. I don't know what was wrong with it. But when they jabbed it in the back of my windpipe, which is your pharynx. I'd heard about a larynx and everything. I'd never heard that word before. They jammed it into my pharynx and it punctured a hole. So now they go to give me the gas. The gas mask has got like a valve on it, a release valve. So when your lungs are full, it gives you time to exhale, and it goes out that valve. Well, what happened to me? They were giving me the gas, and it was like airing up a tire. I've got a puncture in my esophagus, so they're giving me the gas that's opening up that puncture. And that gas, the anesthesia gas, was all around my heart and around my lungs. It was around my head. My head was the size of a basketball, they said. Anyway, so they do the tonsillectomy, and I'm all blown up. They take me to the recovery room and put me in there. Now I'm in pain. I'm coming out of the anesthesia. I'm in pain. They keep coming every 20 minutes and giving me a morphine shot in the legs. Well, they told my folks the surgery was going to be 2 hours, they'd be 2 hours, 2.5 hours in the recovery. So in 2.5 hours, my dad goes up to the desk, and they say, "Oh, it's going to be a little bit longer, a little bit longer. He's not here yet, not here yet." Well, this keeps going on for another 2 hours. 4.5 hours after they brought me into the recovery room, my dad went up there. They said there would be some complications, uh, and they called a security guard to the recovery room door. Well, my dad at the time he was an older man. His wrestling career was over, but he was still 6'10", doggone near about 360 pounds.
Yeah.
Saw the security guard go over there to the door. He went over there and he said, either move or call the National Guard because you're going to need help. He said, "Mr. Smith, I'm going to the front door." He left it out. My dad kicked the door in, went in, grabbed an orderly, threw him into a wall. Another one come running up and saw how big my dad was, went to turn away and run. And the nurse came up, and my dad grabbed her and carried her over to me. I could see and hear everything going on around me. So he pulls the sheet off of my face, then me covered up to my eyes, pulled the sheet off of my face, and I was blown up like a basketball. And he started pushing on my face. And he said, "Son," I said, "Dad, get me out of here. They're hurting me." And he said, "I want to see a doctor, and I want one now." And they brought a plastic surgeon in, and the plastic surgeon had 2 heart doctors he knew of right there at the hospital that were there, Dr. Smith and McCool, and he got them, and they come in the recovery room, and they told my folks, they said, "He's got less than a half hour." And they told me, they said, "You'd only seen one other case like this, and the guy didn't make it." So they went in, they set me up, and they cut me here. That's when I flew when they got me in there, the one nurse said, "What's he doing back? We've already done him. What's he doing back?" The other nurse said, "They nicked his pharynx." That's the first time I never heard that word. Then they cut me on the side. I flatlined. I had a tunnel experience. And when I realized in my experience and where the lights that I was seeing, it was kind of like Star Trek, where they go into warp speed and you see the stars kind of like zip by. It was kind of like those were the souls coming to take for the babies. And I got into a bright light. And if I had to describe it, all I could say was just the warmth and everything. It was it was yellow. It was peace. It was everything. It was serenity. And I heard a voice tell me to go back. It wasn't my time. And when they resuscitated me, I was so mad. That was such a beautiful place. And I can't wait to get back there, but I'm not going to push it. Because I know if I push it, I ain't going to go to that place.
Right.
So, but I'll let him take his time and take me when it's his time. And I ain't rushing it because I've been blessed more than any man deserves. I have got the most beautiful, loving wife in the world that cooks real good.
She's in the room, so you have to say these things, right? No,
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. No, I
haven't had to use black pepper on mustard on anything in 3 years. So if you can get anything down with enough black pepper or mustard, just to let you know.
Very good. I was gonna say my wife cooks very well too, so I think we're both blessed in different ways. But having a woman who cares and loves us and she cooks for us is a nice thing to do.
So they cut me here, then they cut me here, and they ran surgical tubing down into my chest cavity, and they had to leave that open and bleed that gas out from April the 2nd till August 13th. When they sewed me back up, the gas. I stayed in the hospital all that time. But as soon as they took me out of the surgery, they take me to intensive care, and I was in a coma. and I sat in a coma for 2 weeks. Uh, I was in a coma, and it was wild. Was because I was having out of body experiences. My body, I was sitting on the headboard of the hospital bed, looking down at my own body. I could see and hear my folks talking and laughing and stuff. I just couldn't communicate. I couldn't do nothing with them. And sometimes I would be laying in myself, but a lot of times I was out of my body. And it was wild. It was just an experience. So that after I've been there 2 weeks, the doctor comes in and he said, it doesn't look good. They weren't expecting me to make it through the night. And I looked over and I remember I saw my sister crying, and then I saw my mom crying. And I kind of expected that, girls cry. I looked up and my dad at the time, he was my hero at that time. And I seen him crying. And the words he kept saying were fight, fight, fight. And I fought. Well, midnight that night, I woke up. When I woke up, my mom had painted my pulled a rib on me and had painted my big toenail red. And I was focusing on that. And I woke up and I turned over to her and I said, they nicked my pharynx. And she freaked out because I was awake. And she said, baby, you mean larynx? I said, no. They said pharynx in the operating. So she remembered that. Well, I woke up, so they took me to the private room. I told them I was tired and I wanted to sleep. So they moved me while I was asleep to a private room. My mom went to and found out that the pharynx is the back of your windpipe.
Mm-hmm.
We never knew that, but you know what the larynx is your voice box. So anyway, she found that out. So Saturday morning, my mom and my dad, my sister in the room. I'm awake. I get the remote control because I'm the patient and everything. I got this big bandage on my back. I don't know what's going on. So about noontime, I hit the remote, watch Mid-South Wrestling TV. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and here's Boyd Pierce and Cowboy Bill Watts doing the show opening. And Cowboy Bill Watts Boyd starts off, welcome wrestling fans, and he introduces Bill Watts. Bill Watts comes on and says, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, matchmaker Grizzly Smith is not here with us tonight. His son Michael, which a whole lot of you people know, is fighting. Is in a fight in a life and death fight, not expected to make it or not expected to live, and our things aren't looking well. Anyway, I was sitting there and I hear that, and my jaw dropped, and I look over at my dad, and he looks at me. He says, "Son, that was taped Wednesday night. It's Saturday now. You're okay." And after that, I was cool,
Of
After
course.
long road to recovery, folks, because they never laughed that whole time I was in intensive care. They never left the room. They stayed, how in intensive care, they only let you come in for 20 minutes every 2 hours. No, they moved the coffee pot by room.
Wow.
They, uh,
Well, good to have good parents.
oh yeah. But as soon as they could, they went home, but somebody stayed with me the whole rest of the time I was there, either Robin, my mom, or my dad. Somebody was always there with me. And they'd take breaks and spells. Me and my sister tried to break out of the hospital one time. We got all the way to her Camaro in the wheelchair and everything. And then here comes the orderlies out to carry us back in. Oh,
Hey, they're trying to help you. They're trying to help you, but you've been there for too long.
Wait, we were going through one time. I was trying to get my strength back, and Robin would go get me a wheelchair. I'd get the wheelchair. She'd wheel me past the nurse's station, and then I'd get out of the wheelchair. She'd get in it, and I would push her and work on my legs, try to keep my strength. Well, we were going through it, and these two little old ladies, and they had like a wheelchair than one of those old wooden, like the Walton's TV show or something. Yeah, it was just old and rickety and everything else. And I'd already been in trouble with the hospital before. So I didn't figure one time was going to matter. So we traded them out. I just asked him, I said, hey, y'all want to trade wheelchairs? I got this nice brand new one right here. And one lady was really old. And she's being pushed by another lady that's maybe 15 years younger than her. But she was really old too. So we gave him a cool wheelchair.
Well, that's good to hear. You suffered the entire time to be such a nice
Just to
person and
make
still
it bless
give,
somebody's
still giving, still
yeah,
giving. If anything we learned from this interview, it's you're a giver, not a taker.
yes,
So,
yes,
so
yes.
that's good to hear.
I give three black eyes to people if they need one.
If they try when they want to eat you, you're like, I'm okay with that, but I'll punch you if you touch me again. Let's talk about Survivor Series for a second. 1988. We talked about it a long time ago in this conversation.
Okay.
You teamed up with Ultimate Warrior,
Uh-huh.
Blue Blazer, who was Owen Hart, who passed away unfortunately, Jim Brunzell, and Bruce the Barber Beefcake against the Honky Tonk Man, Greg Valentine, Ron Bass, Bad News Brown, and Danny Davis. What a ragtag crew of incredible talents there, and everyone has an Ultimate Warrior story. So what is your Ultimate Warrior story? Because everyone either has a great experience or a bad experience. What was yours?
Well, oh gosh. Well, I met Jim when he first, come in up there. Now, I'd come in from Louisiana. He had left Louisiana before I got there, but Sting was still there. So I worked with Sting and Rick Steiner all the time while I was in Louisiana. When I got to New York, I'm working for Vince. Warrior comes up a little bit after I get there. But his body was like, wow, or both, it was, he had that, okay. But his in-ring work and I guess people say his interviews still just weren't up to par. So anyway, they put him on the road. We traveled together for the first like almost 2 years before they put him on TV. I don't remember how long it was, but we made all our road trips together and stuff like that because nobody else had traveled with him. When you're all going through the airports, we'd always get rental cars. Anyway, so we were cool with each other. And he was a whole lot different then when he was just a warrior than when he became the ultimate warrior. Mm-hmm. And he came in as the Dingo Warrior, but they didn't like Dingo. So then he became the warrior, and he was that for all this time. So he did there was a commercial on TV, Bubblicious commercial about the ultimate bubble. And he did a Bubblicious commercial during interviews. He called himself the ultimate warrior. And Vince said, I like that. Let's go with it. And that's how he got his name. But anyway, so we traveled together. He liked my boots, my wrestling boots. And Austin Hall Boot Company was in El Paso, Texas. So he wanted to go to the Austin Hall Boot Company and meet my bootmaker. And so I'm like, okay. When we get to El Paso, he goes to baggage claim. I don't know what's happening. I go rent the car, and I go rent the car, come back to the airport. I pull up. Here comes Warrior out, but 2 old Mexican officers, cops are with him too. Okay. What had happened inside was when we got off the plane, you know how the fans are, they got the VHS cameras.
Yeah.
Right? You had the big shoulder mount thing. Well, Jim didn't like nobody taking pictures of him or filming him if he didn't have his makeup on, So he tells the guy that. And the guy put the camera down. Well, a few minutes later, he goes back to filming all the boys again, getting their luggage and stuff. And then from all I know, I didn't see nothing, but I heard that the VHS camera was wadded up and left on the luggage carousel, broken up. And, and I guess a whole lot of F-bombs were dropped on the inside, blah, blah, blah. So Warrior comes huffing out with those great big bags of his, And I pop the trunk and I'm standing and he throws the first bag in the trunk and it lands great. goes to throw the second one in, and it hits the lip of the trunk, and just falls on the ground. Right. And he grabs the bumper of the car, and we had I think it was a Sable or something, whatever those kind of cars were, the Taurus,
Mm-hmm.
Taurus. So he grabs the bumper and he starts going up and down with it. And then he starts bouncing the tires up off the ground. The tires are coming off the ground. And the two cops look at me and they said, "We're glad you got this, buddy. We're going back inside." What the hell? So I get him in the car and I'm driving. Like, what is wrong with you? So he tells me what happened inside. And I said, "Dude, there ain't no way I am taking you to my bootmaker like this. You're not going to wake out, no, because having a pair of Austin Hall boots, and not everybody had them. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I said, before you go to the bootmaker, you're smoking with me. So I pulled the joint out, lit it up, and made him smoke 2 joints with me. Oh, we rode around El Paso, and then we went and he met my bookmaker. So we get to the matches that night, and we're in El Paso. Everybody had to be there early, and because the news crew wanted to interview somebody. And we all the boys already knew, because who was getting the push and everything else. So we knew that it was going to be the Rougeaus doing the news interview.
Hmm.
And we're sitting, how boys want to be boys and stuff. Anyway, so I go up to Jock and Raymond, and I'm sitting. Mexico's just right across the river there. It'd be really cool if you and Raymond could say a little Spanish. And he goes, "Sam, we are French Canadians. We do not know any Spanish." And I said, "I know a little bit. And I do know, like, Cállate la boca, shut up your mouth. So if you say like, Que paso, como estás, and nada, and then this other one is Mi hermano es Soto.
What's
So
that?
I teach them that, you know,
Yeah.
and so so I said at the end of the interview, throw your arms up in the air and yell, "Mi hermano es Soto." So at the end of the interview, the news guy's standing there, and Jacques throws the arm in the air, "Mi hermano es Soto," with a big smile, and Raymond does the same thing, "Mi hermano es Soto," and the sportscaster, he died laughing. He fell to his knees. Um, I guess, I guess your model, my brother, is. There were a lot of pink signs that night.
You can say whatever you want to say. It's not censored
Oh
here.
no! It just, yeah, it's kind of like my brother's really happy.
Mm-hmm.
My brother's really happy. My brother's really happy. I don't want to offend any LGBTQ.
You're not going to offend someone. It's a joke from 40 or 30 years ago. I don't.
Yeah,
I think you didn't say it. Someone else said it.
yeah, they did. Well, so anyway, so later that night, now we're in now the matches. So Chief Jay Strongbow was the road agent, and because WCW was doing the bunkhouse battle royals, WWF did the bunkhouse battle royals too. So we're in El Paso, Texas. Now, who better to have all the stuff to wrestle in a bunkhouse battle royal? I got all the stuff: chaps, boots, spurs if I need them, bullhorns. I got it all, right? No, they put me on fourth and then put the bunkhouse battle royal right after me, fifth. So I got time to work 15 minutes with Danny Davis and then walk to the dressing room and get a drink of water and turn around and walk back out for battle royal. I can't suit up or nothing. I'm like, have the guy. So I guess I don't know. One of my ribs probably got me. Guys, they weren't really after me, but they were after me, sort of. Because I had made some remarks on battle royals about guys trying to get you, before. So Anyway, so I wrestled with Danny Davis. So I get back to the dressing room, and the dressing rooms there were different. But me and Warrior were in a dressing room by ourselves, little doorway and like a table and lights on the mirrors, and then the bathroom there. So as soon as I walk in, I grab something to drink, and I'm training, and he grabs his bottle of baby oil and he's hosing me down. And I was like, "What are you doing, dude?" Because I didn't like the. I don't want to be. You can't do anything to anybody. You can't hold them and
Yeah.
support them. But he's hosing me down. He said, "Man," he said, "they're gonna get you tonight." He said, "All of them are talking. They're gonna get there after you." Really? So, boy, as soon as we got in the battle royal and everything, here comes Demolition. Here comes everybody's after me, and I'm just, sliding out of a grease pig, running through everything. Nobody could do nothing, and I couldn't let it go at that neither. After I finally got eliminated out of the back battle royal, they're all get back to the back, and I've been putting in their faces. Look at you, big guys, can't handle. Oh, I was being real obnoxious and assholeish or
Yeah.
something. But I was just like, hey man, you don't get to strut every day. So the times you can, make sure you do a good job.
Of course.
Anyway,
That's so funny. A greased up little pig.
So a couple of nights later, we're in Wichita Falls. Same thing, bunkhouse battle royal in that one. Same thing, me, and then the bunkhouse battle royal again. Well, now I know they're all after me. So I come back, and sure enough, we're not hiding in no dressing room. He's hosing me down. I don't care if people see. There you go. Come on. So they're hosing me down. Well, Mr. Fuji was sitting there and
Oh
watching.
no.
And he saw that going on. So we get in the ring, and the battle royal starts. And boy, everybody's after me, and Warrior's standing over there with his back to the rope. Who will mess with the Ultimate Warrior? And everybody's kind of staying away. Fuji was on his knees on the ring apron behind him, and he tied his strings to the top rope. He won the match.
Oh yeah, if you can't fall out of the ring.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mr. Fuji. Let me. Can I share you? I mean, maybe you've heard this story before. I interviewed Savio Vega, and he told Mr. Fuji rib once where he got a guy so drunk and he passed out in his hotel and he took a crap on his chest.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Let me tell you, Mr. Fuji. Me and Jake are walking into Madison Square Garden. This is the second or third time up there. So, well, we walk in and we ride the elevator up. We get off the dressing room level. As soon as we get off, we see all these like tables, banquet tables, set up with Chinese food. Jake turned right around. He said, "Bro," he said, "don't eat nothing till I find out who did this," because they catered TV and they catered TV and pay-per-views, but not guard shows and stuff.
Right.
They might have a complimentary table with some celery sticks and something. I don't know, water or whatever, or not, or O'Doul's beer, non-alcoholic beer or something. But anyway, but they got all these Chinese tables of Chinese food. So Jake says, "Don't eat nothing till I find out who got this." So I'm like, "Cool." So I'm sitting all put my bag in the dressing room and sitting all waiting on him. I don't know what door he's going to come out of or anything else. So I'm watching all the different guys. One of the things, I guess, okay, a lot of the boys were cheap on the road, and whatever they can get for free, they're going to get for free. So you get, here's all this Chinese food. Well, I'm going to go ahead and scoop me up 2 or 3 to-go plates.
Of course.
But I'm going to have me a big plate here before the matches, too, Well, Jake came back and he said, "Look," he said, "Fuji got it." He said, "Fuji said, only eat what he." I was like, "I'm not going to eat nothing. I don't care." I didn't like to eat before the matches anyway, because that's how Ted DiBiase's father, Mike DiBiase, passed. He died in the ring. He did eat 2 chili dogs before he went to work. He choked to death on a chili dog. So after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I wouldn't eat. So anyway, but all the rest of the boys were pigging out, getting their stuff for later and everything else like that. Well, SD Jones was really going to town.
Oh no.
I don't know. Do you remember SD Jones?
Yeah, he fought your brother at WrestleMania 2 and threw up in the ring.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, puked right in the ring. It's on WrestleMania 2 if you watch it. And he's fighting him and he just yaks him in the ring.
Oh, I didn't see that. So anyway, then this is another bad thing that happened to him.
Another bad thing.
Yeah. So anyway, so we all go to the ring for the battle royal. Guess who's in the battle royal? Mr. Fuji. That's kind of odd. Are you supposed to be? You're supposed to be in the management now. As soon as they rang the bell for the battle royal, Fuji reached out, grabbed SD Jones by the head, picked him up, slammed him in the middle of the ring, jumped up, and came down with both feet in his stomach. The shit shot out his ass like a rocket through his stomach. Everything. Oh, it was nasty. I was in the corner. I said, no. I walked back to the dressing room. For me, the battle royal was over. For all the guys, I believe, the battle royal was over.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Mr. Fuji, why are you always involving poop and shit in these rip stories? It seems like every time I hear
what? Oh God, his next door neighbor. He did him and his next door neighbor did.
Oh no.
And so he was going to bury the hatchet. He goes over and he invites his next door neighbor over for a traditional Japanese meal. Right? So
nice.
Next door neighbor comes over and the family eats a meal. They all eat the meal together. And the guy's telling him, "Oh, this is great. What is it?" Fuji hands him a paper sack. The guy says, "What is it?" Fuji handed him the paper sack. That guy opened the paper sack. It was his dog's head in the paper sack. Fuji was vicious. He was vicious.
That's not a rib. You know what I mean? No. That's not a rib. That's like a.
That's how far things can get taken. I mean, Harley Race. I don't know Harley what caused Harley to do it, but Terry Funk must have done something. Harley caught a rattlesnake in Sweetwater, Texas, sewed its mouth closed, and put it underneath Terry's Lincoln Town car underneath the seat. Terry Funk had a Lincoln Town car with a sunroof or a moonroof, whatever they call it. That when he was driving down the road, he could hold his beer can in a place with the sunroof open, and he could let it go, and it would suck right out. So he's going home after the matches, and he opens the sunroof, and he's letting stuff out. Well, all of a sudden, he hears something, and then he feels something hitting on the back of his leg. He turns on his inside light. He sees a rattlesnake down there by his feet, hitting him in the calf. He don't know its mouth is sewn shut. He don't know he's not being bitten. He drove the car right in the lake. That's how like, I woke up with Damien wrapped around me, butt naked. I ran down the hall at the Boston Hilton at like 5:30 in the morning, and then Jake let me back in the ring. Doug and Gamma gave me a bedspread.
Oh my God!
I had to wait 2 hours in a bedspread for Jake to leave the hotel room so I could get in there. He wasn't letting me in. It's all right. I got him back.
Oh my God! How'd you get him back?
You got to read the book.
Yeah.
But I got him so good. It was a multi-layered, but it's kind of like I hit Moscow with one time. Moscow played a rib on me. I played a rib back on him. He tried to do something else. Wahoo got involved. Wahoo didn't like the way Moscow tried to bully the young guys. And I wasn't being bullied. So anyway, I wrestled my match, and Wahoo comes out to the ring in the first match. The main event walks out to the ring after I win my match. Shakes my hand. He said, "Kid, when you get back to the dressing room, don't put your hat on. Because Moscow, that SOP, filled it up with water." I said, "That's okay, Chief." I said, "Be referred. It'd be okay." He said, "Oh, okay," because we had to work a double shot. We had to work Charlotte that night. So I walk in the dressing room, grab my hat, dump the water out in the sink. And I got to get my shower and get on the road because of the first match in Charlotte. So while I'm getting ready to get in the shower, Wall goes, "Hey, kid, is that a beaver hat?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I got a blow dryer." I said, "Okay." So he plugs it in right next to Moscow. He's blowing the water off of my hat onto Moscow. Wanting him to do something. See, while Moscow, there was heat there because Moscow kind of took some cheap shots at the Canadian Football League, and Wahoo didn't respect that. Late hits and stuff like that. He tried to hurt people.
Wow.
You know. So anyway, that night in Charlotte, Moscow tells Crockett, "I got 2 weeks left. If that kid is booked anywhere I'm at," he said, "I'm leaving. I'm just leaving." And so Crockett leaves me. I'm an underneath kid. So I got 2 weeks to start at home in Marshville, North Carolina. So the last night in Moscow was Richmond, Virginia, and Wahoo was the booker for Virginia for Crockett. And Wahoo called me up. My grandmother comes and said, "Honey, Chief Wahoo McDaniels is all right." She's all happy. And I got the phone, and Wahoo goes, he says, "Hey, kid, tonight's Moscow's last night up in Richmond." Yeah, he said, I said, "Yeah, no." I said, he said, well, he goes, "I'm going." He said, "I'm going by myself." He goes, "Would you like to go?" I said, "I'd love to." I said, "I got to make a pit stop first." So I stopped off at Farm Tractor Supply. Okay. When Moscow came out, okay, got himself, he was supposed to be main event. Got himself put on early so he could get the road. He was leaving Richmond, going to Toronto that night. So Moscow, first chief comes in, finds out what he's done, comes, tells me I got to do my stuff and do it quick. I jacked Moscow's car up, put blocks underneath both of his back tires on his Cadillac. Okay. I let the car back down to where the tires barely touched the ground. Then I poured oil, a little bit of oil underneath both the tires, then let the air out to about 10 pounds. Then I took a can of black spray paint. I spray painted his headlights black. Then I took manure and I put it on those leather upholstery. I used a Slim Jim. I used to drive record trucks and everything else. I got all this stuff.
You got all of it.
When I was 15 years old and the boys were broke down, my dad would drop me off on the side of the road. I'd have to fix their car and get them to him at the town, and he'd take off with them. So I've got skills.
It sounds like it.
So anyway, Oscar comes out. Oh, let's see. Okay. Mosca comes out. He's going to Toronto. He got himself put on 30. Comes out, got his towel with him. He opens his trunk. He throws his wrestling bag and towel in his trunk. Everything he owns is in his trunk. Now, in the Cadillac trunk, the jack is underneath the spare tire in the main body of the trunk. So Mosca gets up. He opens his car door. Now, I'm a very observant guy, and Mosca had hip problems. My dad had hip problems. And the doctors tell them Mosca got in the car the same way my dad did. They open the door, they back up, they sit down, and then they swing both legs in at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I know Mosca's going to do that. Mosca opens his door, he backs up, he sits down in maneuver, he spins around into the driver's seat. He goes flipping crazy. Comes out of there, goes, oh, it's going nuts. He gets his towel out of the truck. He's looking all over the place. He, spit and opening his mouth. He's trying to clean his stuff out. He finally cools down, gets his car cleaned out, gets rid of the towel. Now he's going to hit the road. He's all cleaned up. He's going to hit the road. So he sits down in his car, cranks it up, pulls his light switch. He's parked against the wall and there's no reflection. All right. So he's looking. He hit it. I guess he hit his dimmer switch or whatever. Anyway, he gets out of his car. He walks around and he sees the headlights and it's spray painted black. Oh, that man started going crazy. He's going nuts, kicking in the hands, screaming and everything. Well, yeah, what did we got? We got those little plastic ice scrapers. So they
Yeah.
sit there with a little plastic, the corner one trying to scrape and scrape and scrape.
Oh my God.
Finally, I guess he scrapes enough little lives to where he can see a little bit. And now he's satisfied. So he gets back in his car, cranks it up. He puts it in gear. When he puts it in his gear, one of the back tires just spins in that hole. And he's sitting there spinning and smoke's rising because he's gunning it. Smoke's coming out. He gets out. He's looking around. He drops down to his hands and knees and looks underneath the car. Now he sees the wheels. I mean, his car's up both blocks. Oh, he went nuts. He went nuts again. Oh, now he's take everything he owns of value out of the trunk of the car and scatter it in the parking lot at the Richmond Coliseum in the tunnel. Okay? But in the parking lot. Uh, so he's got everything out. He gets the jack out. Jacks one side up. Gets some blocks out. He drops that side. When he drops, it goes all the way down. I mean, it's just like, boom. It's like got that much air in the bottom of the tire. Yeah, he's now the bell rings. The last match to be over. And in that tunnel in Richmond, the fans used to come to catch
Oh,
the so about, I don't know, 1,000 people come into the tunnel. What
there
are
he
these?
is.
Oh, here's a garage sale with all the Angelo Bosco stuff. So now he turned around, changed to the side, and he picked up one, one, one comes out to the Bronco. He gets things, how's it going? You know, white. One, we drive by, so he hadn't seen me yet because I was hiding in the Bronco the whole time. We drive by, as we drive by, Wahoo stops and told us safe travel, see you down the road. Yeah, I just waved at it. I didn't see
Jeez.
Bosco for 4.5 years. When I went to work for Vince, I was in Toronto and they brought Bosco in to do the color commentary. And he walked into the dressing room and he saw me and he went, ah, ah, ah.
Oh my God.
And he said, are we okay? And I said, that depends on you. I said, do you do anything to me? I said, yeah, I'm coming for you. He's like, oh, no, we're good, kid. So, yeah, yeah. So I did my limbs. Okay, if I'm going to write stupid on somebody's head, I'm going to write stupid on two people's head. That way they can laugh at each other. Yeah, I've
Well,
done that.
I love I love that story, and clearly you love it as well because I love it. You're crying in laughter and tears of something that happened so long ago, but it is still great to hear you share the passion of this right now. But unfortunately, I've run out of personal time right now.
I got one more real quick one. This is
Well,
Nick.
oh, cool. Well, if you're giving out stories, then let's hear one more.
Okay. Nikolai Volkov, everybody knows.
Of course.
Okay. So I was talking to this stewardess. She told me I look like a rock star and blah, blah, blah. A lot of
You still
people.
do.
Thank you very much. I'm almost 60 years old.
You look great.
Anyway, actually, I'm only like 35 or 36. Anyway, so he comes up and he does this little magic trick with her with these little sponge balls. And at the end of his little spiel, he's got a whole big spiel like that. He says, how many balls do you have in your hand? She says, two. She opens up her hand. She's got like five. She can't believe it. So then he says, let me show you I use on sand. So he does it with me, but he's got a different spiel. So when I open my hand up, I think there's like, three balls in it. No, it's big foam penis in a set of testicles. Oh, you're embarrassing. So we get to Boston, we get to Boston Gardens, and me, Duggan, and Jake were in the dressing room. So I'm, getting ready for a match, and I see Nikolai, and he's watching out the curtain. He's next. He's wrestling Jim Powers. And I see him out there, and I was like, okay. So I walk back in the dressing room, give me a piece of toilet paper about, I don't know, 3 foot long. And then I get me a Band-Aid and I stick the toilet paper to the Band-Aid. I roll the toilet paper up with my hand like that with the Band-Aid. And then I come down the hall. As I go down the hall, I pat Nikolai on the back right by his trunks and said, good luck out there, man. Well, me and Nikolai didn't hang that like, we weren't hanging like that. That's, yeah, he looks at me, he goes, thanks, Sam. And I walked off, And I'm sitting back there watching. Jim Powers goes to the ring, and the referee's in the ring, the announcer in the ring. Now Nikolai walking out, he comes out of the tunnel, and he's got his flag, and everybody's yelling USA, USA. But as he's passing people start laughing. And he's like looking, you don't know what they're laughing. Now he's walking to the ring, and the further he goes, the more people are seeing, and they're laughing. They see toilet paper coming out of the top of his trunks, hanging down about 3 feet. So Nikolai, okay, he gets on the ring apron, and when he gets on the ring apron, he's facing this way. Nobody this way has seen it yet, but everybody this way. Yeah. So half of the Boston Gardens is laughing, and the other half is yelling USA. So he gets in the ring now. He's got his flag, and he, how they use.
Yeah, he waves it around
the ring. Well, he does that, and it was like the wave. Remember when the people did the wave?
Oh yeah, they still do it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, it was like the wave. Everybody just busted out laughing. Well, he goes up and makes the thing, have everybody stand up while he sings the Russian national anthem. So they make videos, but everybody's dying laughing. They're not yelling, F you or USA. They're not yelling none of that. They're hysterical. Jim Powers is laying in the corner on the mat. He said his sides were hurting so bad. The referee is biting the turnbuckle. He was crying tears. Nikolai's out there, doing his thing, and got that. Well, finally, he sings the national anthem, and now he's wanting to get the match going. And nobody's left. So finally, the second time he hit the ropes, the toilet paper came
off. Oh, God.
Oh, so then they were okay to have their match. Well, when the toilet paper come off, I turned around and I walked in the dressing room. And Jake and Duggan are sitting there, and Jake goes, you did that. I said, did what? And Duggan's like, you did that. You're buying the beer for next month. I said, what? He said, you're buying the beer for the next month. I said, He said, if you don't, we're telling Nikolai what you did. So I made a decision to tell him that I bought the beer for the next month. I was never so happy. There's a hint to this too. I was never so happy because that Saturday, how they used to do that closed circuit TV stuff? Nikolai saw that tape at the airport and wadded up that row of chairs with the TVs in it that you put quarters in. He wadded that row of chairs up. He was so mad.
Oh, my.
So nobody ever said nothing, but in 2006, I did go up to him in Dallas at the Legends reunion. And I asked him, I said, Nikolai, do you remember that? And he goes, yeah. And I said, that was me. And he went, you're funny. Yeah.
You seem to have that feeling towards a lot of people. You do something, they're like, oh God, this guy, please tell me he won't do it to me again. But I would love to do a round 2 with you, but time is running out here on my end. But Sam Houston, it has been an honor and a privilege to hear all your stories from almost being eaten alive to from dying on a table to going to prison to coming out to being the best version of you possible. And again, we all need to help Black Bart as well. So I will put that link up one more time as well. But thank you so much for being here on
Thank
Tank
you
Out.
very much.
I've been Steve Fall. He's Sam Houston. Have a great day, and we will see you next time for round 2. Have a great day. Bye-bye.